we'll see what happens. No big
Yeah,
deal.
yeah. And if there's anything that you don't feel these questions aren't crazy, but if there's anything you don't feel comfortable answering, just let me know.
Okay.
But again, I really appreciate coming on, dude.
No, thanks for having me.
All right, Josh. So first things first, where do you live? How long you been married? How many kids? And what's your profession?
Yeah, so I live in Willard, Ohio, little small rural town in the middle of nowhere, Ohio. We kind of lived all over the place. We've been in Denver, Colorado, Columbus, Cleveland, and we had twins 5 years ago and 6 years ago almost, and decided to come home. Been married for 10 years. We just celebrated our 10-year anniversary last month. We have 3 kids now. Our twins are about to turn 6 in a couple weeks, and we have a daughter that just turned 2 in November. And profession-wise, I guess the easiest thing to say is entrepreneur. I'm a CPA. I've had a couple different tax practices, built one up and sold it, started a new one. I have a real estate business. I have 28 rental units in that now. Girls high school tennis coach. I don't know. I'm all over.
Wow.
I'm busy.
Wow, man. What's your CPA practice called?
So I have a CPA on Fire, and I have the Prestige Journal. So they're
I hear you a lot on the JLD podcast. That's
right. Yeah. So I that's kind of how I built it pretty quickly. I hooked up with him early on, Entrepreneur on Fire, and that's where the name CPA on Fire came from. And get to go on his podcast every month and give a tax tip, and definitely helped build it up quickly. I was fortunate there.
Yeah, man, that's pretty awesome. Okay, and you went to, a little background for people listening. Josh went to college with my wife, so that's how we connected.
Yep.
And it was really funny. Quick story, as I was listening, I would listen to a lot of his episodes, and all of a sudden I was talking to Catherine about the CPA he had on and she goes, "Oh, I think that's the guy I went to high school." And it was just a funny connection, and then that's what happened. So you're semi-famous.
But the even funnier thing is, I was with a couple other guys that we went to college. Me and Kat went to college with, and they're like, "Hey, did you hear Kat's on a podcast? Like, her husband does a podcast. I just heard an interview with her." And like literally the next day, Kat's like, "Hey, you should be on my husband's podcast." Like, this is so super strange.
Really strange. Well, so this is serendipitous then. So that's cool.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on in your life, which is pretty cool. I'm glad I have you on to talk about that. So first question, how did you guys meet, you and your wife?
So we both played tennis. We're from the same hometown, tiny hometown, 6,000 people. She's 4 years younger than me. So we knew of each other, but we didn't know each other too much. And then I was a sophomore in college. She was a senior in high school, and I went back and she was playing tennis, and I was at the courts playing tennis, and kind of met there.
And she beat you, and then you're like, "Dang!"
Right. Yeah. So,
That's fun. So, okay. So we have 3 kids, 2 twins, married 10 years. You guys met playing tennis. That's pretty cool. So you have some common interests.
Yep.
Right off the bat, which is nice. Let's start off with like a favorite family memory that you have together with your kids and your wife. What's something that really comes across sometimes?
Favorite family memory.
Favorite, yeah.
Yeah, just like this weekend we just went to Splash Harbor in Ohio. It's like an indoor water park. That was pretty crazy. My 2-year-old daughter's at the age where she doesn't do anything you tell her, so it's like a fight to do everything. So that was pretty memorable. Man, there's all kinds. I mean, the cool thing is that I work from home. So I'm there for pretty much everything. Like, I got to see all the kids' first steps and their first crawling, and like every time it starts to happen, my wife can just yell around the corner that it's going on, and I can run out there and see it. So it's hard to think of just one. It's been cool to get to watch all of it.
You know what? I really like that answer, actually, because that's exactly how I would answer it. Working from home, I hear something, or Catherine will shoot me a text while I'm working. "Hey, can you come out here?" Like, they're about to take their first steps,
Right.
And
yep.
Me having a 4 and almost 5 and an almost 2-year-old. Did your 2-year-old go on any of the slides at the place?
Yeah. She's actually braver than the boys. Like, she's right down with me, wanting to go back over and over and over again. And cool. The boys were kind of hesitant, so it's funny.
Well, perfect. There you go.
You'll hear mine soon. So,
so my son's a loud one, but okay. So let's get into like, as a male, as a dad, what would you say is like, and again, there's no right or wrong answer to these questions. I'm just interested to see how people, what's going through your mind at this stage in life. And what's the worst and best part about being a male, would you say?
The worst and best part. I think the hard part, and I think it's even harder when you work from home and your wife's a stay-at-home mom, is you see how hard it is for them. And like, I can get up and just go. Like if I want a haircut, I just get up and go get a haircut. If I want to go work out, I just go up and get workout. Whereas she has to be like, hey, can you, I really want to do this. Can you take the kids for an hour, or can we find a babysitter? So that's the challenging part, is how to balance, like, where I just have this freedom to come and go as I want, and she's kind of stuck unless I relieve her, which is just isn't fair. But that's just the way our setup is, because I'm working and she has the kids. And yeah, I don't know, that's, you know what I mean? It's challenging, like to see that happening and know what to do about it. So
you know, that's it's really interesting you just said that, because that's hands down, like if somebody asked me what my biggest challenge was right now, is that because let me ask you, so does that topic come up every now and then, and it seems like it's almost really hard to resolve?
Yeah, like more than ever, like probably the biggest topic that comes up. And it's like, you recognize that it's not fair, but it's hard to find a solution that works. So
wow, and that's we work on try to work on our relationship a lot, and that's probably the topic that comes up a lot. And we're honestly trying to figure out that solution. Also, if you guys come up with anything, it seems to be a struggle. Have you come up with anything that helps at all with that?
I mean, it's part of it is just like me trying to go out of my way to say, hey, let me take her for an hour. The kids are at school. You go do what you need to do.
Yeah.
But as always, it's easier said than done, because I get busy and I feel like I have stuff that needs to get done, and a few days later we kind of forget about the conversation and it's back to normal. And then a week later we're back to, crap, what are we going to do about this? So
do you feel like now that you're talking to me about this, I don't know if you talk to other people about it, but does it feel like you're you're one of the only ones going through it sometimes?
Yeah, no. And I think like you're similar. It is a unique situation where you can recognize it more because you're there to see it. Whereas I think a lot of guys that their wife's a stay-at-home mom, they're at work all day, so you don't hear like the struggle firsthand, like right outside our office. Like we can hear her dealing with a kid that's being crazy all day long. So I do think it's a little bit unique that we get to see how hard it can be. But yeah, sometimes it feels like there's really no one else in our situation.
Yeah. But I mean, heck, the first person I'm talking to, and boom, right away, that's the same situation I go through too. So there's got to be so many more people that are going through that, listening or just out there. That's so cool to hear. Actually, it's kind of a breath of fresh air that came up within the first 5 minutes of us being on, because it's truthfully a struggle. Man, I wish somebody has like a piece of paper that we can read and be like, all right, here's the answer to that. But I think it's something that you have to figure out together.
Yeah.
Sure. And especially like when the kids are in school, I know, let's say they were teenagers, it's probably a lot easier to balance that.
For sure. Yeah. It's certainly a temporary thing. Like we know in 4 years when she goes, or two, whatever it is, when she goes off to kindergarten, things change a little bit, but in the moment it's hard. And certainly we could help ourselves by being, we've always been very like particular about babysitters. We don't use a lot of babysitters. Like they mostly just use, I don't think we've ever paid a babysitter. We just basically use our parents. So if they're not available, then we just don't go out. So,
and then sometimes you start feeling bad a little bit, right? How much?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. And of course we have siblings that use them. So it's like, well, they just babysat our niece yesterday, so we don't want to ask them again. And so yeah, that's the struggle.
It's funny, but it's not. I mean, it's interesting. When you do take that hour, so let's say, for example, you just, after this, you're like, hey, honey, go do something. I'll take the kids for an hour. Would you say, like, and just be honest, would you say that you're pretty present most of the time, or you just don't think about work and you're just with them? Or is it tough to like know that you have so much other stuff to do while she's away, and it might get to you a little bit? What do you think?
No, yeah, I think I'm definitely really bad about like, if I'm working, I'm working, and if I'm with the family, I'm with the family. Like if I'm working, I'm thinking about what they're doing, and if I'm with them, I'm thinking about what I could be doing for work. So
yeah,
it's and I'd say that's a little bit of a downfall from working at home, because your work's right around the corner in the office. So there's always something you can run to and do. So yeah. No, I think I would say I struggle with that for sure.
Yeah. And how, I mean, we all wish we were a little bit more present in all the moments, right?
Yep.
What it's funny you just said that too, because sometimes, and I'll see if you agree or disagree with me here. Sometimes I feel like my home, because I work from home, sometimes it almost gets a little wave of a stress sometimes when I see my office, knowing that there's stuff I can be doing, but I'm with my family.
Yeah.
Does that happen sometimes to you?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, the office is right there and you look at it and can
Yeah.
see the work that needs to be done. And we're actually in the process of building an office in my basement. So maybe that'll help a little bit if I can't physically see it. But no, it's a struggle for sure.
Oh, you're putting one in your basement. Is there at least a window in there?
Yeah, it's we live on a lake, so it's got the walk out to the lake. It was just a storage area that they used for like boat storage or something. So it's got the nice big window door to look out at the lake.
Ah,
So
cool.
it'll be an upgrade.
Nice, man. That's fun. When's that going to be done?
According to our contractor, a month ago. So probably another month.
Okay, so we'll get into this then. So how would you say, like, during the weekdays, how much time, like, I guess, your work from home, and we've talked all about that, but like during the weekdays, how much time do you think you're actually like spending with your kids? And do you feel like you would like to spend more, or is it just the exact amount that you prefer?
No,
like
that is one. I will say I spend a whole lot of time with them.
Cool.
I'm fortunate that I can kind of create the schedule that I want to create. And at this point, after I sold my main business, I don't have to put all that many hours into day-to-day stuff. I'm big on using systems like in my real estate business where I can do the same thing over and over by doing it once. So I mean, I take the kids to school every day. I pick them up every day.
Nice.
I'm always doing something with them when even during the day, I'm coming out and playing with my daughter a lot. So no, that's one thing I would say. I see them quite a bit. Yeah.
And Josh, are you able to do that because you created a business that you sold? You think, like, what did you sell? What business?
Yeah, so I sold one of my tax practices, and I won't say which one just because of the non-disclosure stuff. But so yeah, I built it up from the ground up and sold it about almost 2 years, year and a half ago.
Okay.
And I mean that certainly allowed a lot of freedom there. Just being able to, that allowed me to invest in real estate, which is more of a passive activity. Started another tax practice where I'm more of just a consulting type role. I'm not doing the day-to-day work. So yeah, I mean, in the beginning it was a grind. Like I was building it up, and during tax season, I'm working 16, 18-hour days sometimes to build it up. And things were definitely harder then to see my kids as much as I wanted to and balance work, but it definitely helped.
And you said systems. So do you keep a calendar, or do you just kind of just wing it a little bit? Like,
yeah, no, I definitely wing it a lot. But systems like managing my rental properties, like using Google Forms for rental applications, which might seem like the simplest thing in the world, but people around here are still like, no, you gotta show them face to face, everyone that wants to see it. And it's like, no, I'll just send out this application to the 50 people and then choose the best one and show them. So it's the same type of stuff you do for business now, bring it to rental properties. So definitely helps.
Cool, man. I saw some pictures you posted of like some monthly stuff on your Instagram, which is pretty interesting. You have some months where you're positive, some months where you have to do some renovations, and it's not all when people talk about investing in real estate, it's not all bright and shiny stars. There's a lot to it, right?
Yeah. Dealing with stuff already this morning. No, and first of all, anytime you deal with people, whether it's a business or rentals or whatever, there's going to be hard times. And rental is definitely a long game. I think if you're in it to get rich right away, it's not going to work out probably. So
it's a long-term play.
Yep.
I like how you said that, because a lot of times so many of us want to like make money overnight and realize that sometimes that, like your business, you grind it out and you ended up selling it down the road. How long did you own that CPA practice for before you sold it?
I started it right at the end of 2012 and I sold it at the end of 2018. So yeah, about 6 years.
6 years. Yeah. That would consider that long term. So that's awesome. Yep. Is that like one of your most like, well, let me ask you, what do you feel? Actually, you know what? Let me ask you this. I'm looking at a book here. Do you guys, you and your wife, do you guys know what each other's love language is?
We've read part of the book. We haven't finished it. Hers is, I'm trying to think what she always brings it up.
Now she listens, she's gonna be like, Josh,
Right.
you're supposed to know.
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah. No. We've talked about it for sure. We definitely we bought the book and just haven't sat down and read it together.
Do you know what yours is?
No, I mean, I definitely would say it's not gifts. I guess if I had to pick one, I'd say like words of affirmation. That's one of them, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'd say I'd guess that would be mine. But
Yeah, that's that. I'm with you when I have to look at that. And the reason I ask is because I think good relationships, you have to have a lot of clarity and you have to be very clear on what you like and how you want to be supported and everything. And believe it or not, Catherine and I have talked about that on a podcast.
Oh yeah,
it's always a work, right? It's a work in progress, and I'll say things to her and she'll go, "You're just trying to speak to my words of affirmation, love language, aren't you?" So that's why I was curious if you guys have that kind of thing going on too.
Yeah, no, we've talked about it, but we're definitely gonna sit down and nail it down for sure.
Yeah. Well, so here's something in 2020 that I'm kind of looking at and focusing on is like my circle of friends and my influence and what kind of a friend I'm being. Have you ever what do you like? How do you think your friends would describe you, Josh?
Man, how would my friends describe me?
I'm gonna throw some questions at you you probably never thought of before.
Yeah, it's competitive, probably they would say. Yeah. I don't know what the words I'm looking for. We talk sports a lot, so I'd say that one thing I'm bad at is, which probably a lot of dads are, is having a lot of face-to-face friends that I see in person. Like I have my college friends that Kat still knows that we text all the time. We have group texts that we're texting about sports and other stuff, but I don't have enough people that I go and actually spend time with. So I definitely say that's where I fall short. So my friends that I'm texting all the time, they'd say competitive, and they always make fun of when we talk sports. Like I'm a numbers guy, so they're always like, "Well, this guy sucks." I'm like, well, actually, if you look at pro football, he's graded at this end. So they'd make fun of that, I'm sure. So yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, it's really cool that you brought that up, Josh, because sometimes we put a lot as entrepreneurs and, heck, you have your tennis, you're doing a lot, right? So, and then you have to try to find time to also have a social life with friends.
Yep.
And sometimes you put the pressure on ourselves a lot where it's like, man, I'm not spending enough time with my friends, or I don't have a good core group of friends that I see often.
Yep.
And I don't know why we beat ourselves up over that sometimes. Does that thought come through your head at all? You guys talk about it, you and your wife?
Yeah, I think me and my wife both talk about like we need to spend time with more actual people our age. And it's one thing. Like another thing is it's back to, I'll go out tonight, and again I'm leaving her alone with the kids. So it's certainly part of that. But yeah, I think we both would like to get to a place where we're doing that more often. For sure.
It's so well. And your twins are how old?
They turned 6 in February 1st, however long that is.
Yeah. Okay. And it's just, I know there are phases of life, right, that you go through and things change and stuff, but all right, I'll go to a different direction here. And I'm actually really interested. I'm going to ask every single guy I talk to this question. And me personally, this is no exaggeration, Josh. I never cried from like high school until last year, like a year and a half ago. I might have shed a tear over a commercial one time or something, but never a legitimate cry. Actually, I lied. One time when I was really hammered, something struck a nerve with my wife said something to me, and I just like cried over my brother about something. But other than that, I never have. When's the last time you cried, and why?
That's pretty much my wife would just say exactly what you said about. She always says I'm the most unemotional person on earth. So
interesting.
I would say I'm in a similar situation. It's hard for me to sit there and think about times I've cried since going back to high school, like you said. Man,
do you wish that you had a little bit more of those emotions?
I don't feel like that. Like sometimes she'll say like, well, you need to get your emotions out, but I don't feel like I have like stuff bottled in that needs to come out. I think I just like, for me, I express it differently. Like when something's frustrating, I want to do something and work on something and, try and fix it. And I'm sure, like, if something's super sad happened, I'm gonna cry. But I've been fortunate, I guess, and I haven't had that come up. And I'm not someone that like cries because I'm really happy or. So
Right.
yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like it's negatively impacting me. But who knows? Maybe a psychologist would say
Definitely. um, so a big reason why I asked that is because I mean, you're obviously a fan of Tony Robbins, right?
differently.
I went to an event of his, it was 7 days, and he just broke me open and I'd lost it. And ever since then, I've had multiple moments where I've just like, have been a lot more emotional with my wife and kids and just in general,
Yep.
and it's a different feeling. It feels weird sometimes. So I was just curious in your shoes if that, how you expressed yours.
It's funny because I was talking to this business coach once, and he was talking about Tony Robbins, how he can make anyone cry. I'm like, guaranteed he can't make me cry. He's like, oh, he will make you cry.
Oh, dude.
So,
Yes. You're like, I'm an emotional rock. Nothing can break me. Yeah.
right.
Just what, but yeah, if you ever get a chance to attend a date with Destiny, I highly, highly recommend that. It's really good.
Nice. Yeah, I've heard it's good.
So what's the hardest thing mentally that you've been through, do you think, over the past, I don't know, 10 years or so?
Hardest thing mentally. I mean, certainly building a business is tough mentally. It's constant, like during the day, it feels like everything's going good. And then you lay down at night, you're like, oh, what if this happens and it's gone tomorrow? Or what if we stop making enough money? And like all the what ifs run through your head. And for some reason, it always seems to hit like as soon as you lay down to sleep, right? Like all the what ifs that could possibly destroy your business, and then how that would destroy your life and your family. So that was, I would say, mentally, especially when the first couple of years building that was tough, fighting those thoughts of what could happen.
Yeah. Even though you sold a business and you're still working on other businesses, do you still have those thoughts of like, man, what if we lose it all? What, like, this could happen?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, that certainly has helped give like a cushion where you have, if something goes wrong, you have a little bit of a safety net.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would still say that crops up all the time of, well, what if this happens? What if that happens? So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I totally understand that. Let's see here. I have a list of questions I'm looking at over here. And let's see. I guess that would be like one of the things you're most afraid of. Do you have anything else that you would be most afraid of that kind of creeps up your spine every now and then?
I have
it has to do with family or work or what?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you have kids, like that's certainly always there. Like you're always fearful of something happening to them. I think I have a weird fear of like something happening to my brain. Like, what if I, like whether it's like a disease like Alzheimer's or even getting older. Like Courtney were just watching this interview with this like really old guy. And not saying any means all this happens to everyone that gets old, but he was like so stuck in like, well, this was how we did it in 1940, and why can't we just go back to that way? It's like, man, I don't ever want to be in that place where it's like, this is what it was good and nothing else can be better. Like I want to keep looking at how things can get better and not just be stuck in the ways. So that kind of freaks me out.
So your brain, that's cool. That's an interesting fear. What? I had a question I was going to ask you in relation to that. So you're having the fact that like something happens to your brain. It's a big fear. That's good. So you're someone that likes to maybe also you love learning, you love staying creative, and you love building things. For sure. That's why. This is a random question, but do you have disability insurance just in case something like that happens?
I do have disability insurance.
Good. All right, you're covered.
Not high enough, but yeah, no, I do have that.
For anybody listening, I mean, these things, that kind of thing is important. I used to work insurance back in the day, so I've seen some horror stories. This is not me trying to. I don't have my license anymore, so I'm not trying to sell you any disability insurance.
Right? No, it's life insurance, disability. Like you have kids, you got to get that in place.
What's your definition of being a quote unquote real man? Would you say? Someone said, what's it mean to you to be a real man?
I'd say someone that handles their responsibilities, whether that's you're more of a traditional role where you bring in the money for your family and you're protecting them, or if you're in a different situation where maybe your wife brings in the money and you're in charge of the day-to-day with the kids, whatever your responsibility is for the family, whatever your family depends on you for, you're meeting that responsibility, I guess.
Nice. And what would you want it to, what would you want, 2 or 3 sentences, what would you want to say on your, if, and this is kind of a morbid question, but on your tombstone?
Oh man. 2 or 3. I'd say that my life, I've been pretty fortunate to be blessed with a lot of things that make success easier. Like I'm white, I'm a male, I'm straight, I'm blessed with exceptionally good parents. I was born in the United States, a middle class family. Like everything you could have, I was blessed with. And I hope that I don't want to be one of those people that just says, well, those less fortunate people should just work harder like I did. Like I was born on third base and I don't want to feel like I hit a triple. You know what I mean? Like I hope that people remember something that I did to try and help level the playing field for people who weren't born with those same advantages.
Interesting. That's cool. That's cool. And what kind of things are you doing right now to accomplish that?
Oh, so like one thing, me and my wife struggled through infertility, and to have our twins, we had to have IVF, which is super expensive. Like I think to have all our kids, we did IVF. And I think by the time it was all said and done, we spent $50,000 out of pocket, which we were fortunate to be able to afford that. But so many people go through infertility and can't afford that. So we started a foundation where we give grants to people. And like this couple months ago, we gave our $5,000 grant to someone that was going through it. So
that's incredible.
Yeah.
There you go. That's incredible. Giving back. And would you say like some of that stuff is more rewarding than other accomplishments you personally achieved? Do you really feel that way?
For sure. Yeah. No, I think anytime you can use what you've been given to help people, that feels even better than when you got it in the first place, I think.
Cool, man. Well, I appreciate all this. Is there anything else that I didn't ask that you thought maybe people would want to hear? The audience should any words of advice or any words of wisdom or anything?
Man, I don't know if I have many words of wisdom. No, I mean, I'd say it's being a dad and a husband, and whether it's working or being an entrepreneur, it's tough to balance it all. And I think we're all struggling and just trying to get better. So I think it's cool you're doing these interviews and people can learn from other experiences, or maybe it's just like, yeah, he doesn't have any answers, but at least I know someone else is going through what I'm going through.
You know what? That's honestly, if that is what the biggest takeaway is, I think that's worth all the 20 hours it's going to take me to record these. You know what I mean? Sure. Because just hearing that we have a very similar story realizes that I'm not the only one going through that. Because I mean, like we talked about friends. I mean, none of my friends, if I had 10 of my closest friends, none of them work from home. One of them works from home, but doesn't have family. Right. So I'm the only one going through what I'm going through right now. Everybody has their own struggles, obviously, but this particular one, it's cool to hear, from you. So,
yeah, sure.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
So I'll ask you, what do you think, some feedback on, really, obviously we just finished, but some feedback on that?
No, that's good. I think they're all good questions, and
okay.
I think it'll be stuff people want to hear for sure.
All right. Did you feel like the flow was good there?
Yeah. No, I thought it was good. It was. I don't like it when it's straight. Like, now to answer this question, now answer this question. Okay, cool. It was more conversational. I think those make better interviews.
Yeah, and I'm trying to keep them at. It's tough to do a lot in a half hour.
Right.
And so that's why I'm trying to do conversation/questions. So
yeah. I mean, you got to kind of guide it a little bit with questions, but I think everyone has a podcast now that interviews someone where it's just like strictly like Entrepreneur on Fire, or it's strictly like this. Okay, interview's over. Like, I like the conversations better.
Cool, man. I appreciate it. Are you still a Cavs fan even though LeBron's gone?
Yeah, and I mean they're tough to watch right now, but
yeah,
I'll still wear the shirt, I guess. But okay. I mean, if I can weather the Browns for the past 20 years, I can weather the Cavs for a few years.
Perfect. It's like the Knicks and the Bills, kind of same situation.
Are you a Bills fan?
Yeah,
Okay.
huge Bills fan.
My mom grew up in Buffalo area, so all my family's Bills fans.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
That's cool to see, I guess.
Grand Island, is that the name of it? Right off of Niagara
Long
Falls?
Island. Long Island?
It's not Long Island, but it's just a little tiny. I think it's Grand Island.
Niagara
Grand
Falls?
something.
I'm not sure.
It's a little suburb right off of Niagara Falls.
Nice.
Yep.
How's your I saw your real estate. You keep growing that portfolio. Is that
Yeah.
Are you working with a partner? Or are you just kind of learning all that as you go?
I'm mostly doing it myself. I did just buy a couple with a partner. Now I'm to the point where in this small town, it's like a lot of older guys that want to get out of the business, and there's not a lot of younger guys that want to get in it. So you can get these crazy deals right now.
Oh, wow.
So I get people coming to me knowing that I'm buying. So now I'm to the point where it's like, hey, I'll bring you into this deal and you're going to manage everything. And I don't want any part of it, but I'll give you half the deal to do that. So that's kind of been a way to scale it further.
Wow. I briefly looked at your Instagram and I was just like, I don't know that much about real estate as much as I've read or whatever, but I never actually got into it myself besides one flip that I lost $3,000 in.
We all lose in flips. Yep.
But I was really surprised to see that there was, a couple negative months there like that, even with all those properties that you have.
Yeah, for sure. That's especially this past summer. Like I put a lot back into them. I mean, they've been neglected for a lot of years from the previous owners. So
it'll just pay off in the future.
Right. It's more of a long play. And I built up cash flow for a good year before I did all that. So I wasn't really putting my own money into it. It was just past cash flow. For me right now, if they're neutral for the year, then I'm good with it. And in the long run, hopefully they're spitting out some money.
Nice. Damn. Well, all right. I appreciate it, man. It was nice to meet you. It was good talking to you. I'm glad Catherine connected us, and thanks for doing this. Do you, I'll ask, because I have 20 scheduled. I need 10 more. I haven't put a post up since. Do you have anybody that maybe you would, if you don't, it's not a big deal. Refer me to like say, hey, I'll put you in touch with this person. They might enjoy sharing.
Yeah, let me, I'm sure I can think of a few people. Let me think about it a little bit. I mean, from past clients and whatever, some of them don't do like John, good luck getting him on any podcast now. But certainly some of the other clients that still do podcasts. Yeah.
I mean, they don't even have to do, I have a bunch of people coming on that never been on a podcast their entire life. It's just,
right.
They just want to share,
Yeah. Let me think about it. I'm sure I can think of a couple people to send your way.
Cool, man. Are you and John like friends? Like, are you guys buddies, or are you just kind of business buddies?
I'd say kind of in between the two. We've hung out in person a few times and we talk more than just business, but we're not. I mean, they sent me a Christmas basket. So.
But he just seems like a cool dude, type of dude that like I would be friends with.
How he sounds on the podcast is like him. Like he does. That's not a front. That's who he is. Like 100% energy all the time.
Wow, good for him. It's like Gary V. Jr.
Yeah. Right. It's without all the swearing. That's him. So
all right, man, I'll let you go and finish your stuff up. And this is it's not gonna March, April. So whenever I can get these done and uploaded. So thanks.
Yeah, let me know. I'll promote it a little bit.
Appreciate it, brother.
So all right, thanks for having me.